All right, hello and welcome to the I Call Game 21 podcast. This is going to be my sixth and final episode. Today I'm going to review and look at the NBA Top 75 list and give a live reaction of what players are on it and who should be on it as well. And I'd also like to add my top 10 players of all time. I'm not going to give in any specific order due to I don't want to upset anyone, and I don't even think I could think of that anyways. I mean, there's too many good players in the NBA to even start with that. Alright, so let's get into it. I think we're going to start off by looking at the NBA Top 75 players. Alright, so we have four columns, so it's going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, okay, greatest. Most points of all time in the NBA, makes sense. Ray Allen, second greatest shooter of all time, maybe even third. Makes sense. Giannis Antetokounmpo, I mean, that man, what he's done the past couple of years is spoken for itself. Carmelo Anthony, I don't know. Melo, I mean, he's certainly got buckets in the league. He's never made it to a finals. So that goes along without winning a ring. I don't even think he's been into a conference finals, potentially. I could be wrong with that. Nate Archibald, that's an old dude. I mean, he was alive before, he was playing when my grandparents were born, so I couldn't give you any input on that man. Paul Arizin, I mean, I think that's kind of the same story. I think he was part of one of the founding players of the league. So, I mean, I'm just going to take the NBA's word for it and say that he deserves to be on the list, I suppose. Charles Barkley, King Charles, he's another one of those guys that never won a ring, but he made it to the finals. Just an absolute beast. And, so I think King Charles deserves to be on there. Rick Barry played for the San Francisco Warriors at the time. World famous for shooting his underhand free throws. If you'd like to say granny style. Elgin Baylor, another one of those guys. I think he's got the worst ever record for being in the finals. I don't think he ever won a finals game, but I know that man was an absolute bucket. Dave Bing, I didn't know who that guy was. I ended up looking him up, and it turns out he was just an absolute beast. I think he's on the Celtics with Bill Russell when they won all those titles. I mean, Larry Bird, I don't need to say anything more than that. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. And, absolutely, Kobe's going to be on this list. Bob Cousy, of course. I mean, he dominated college, NBA, you name it. He was on the Lakers way back when. Wilt Chamberlain, Wilt Still. I mean, he's a human urban legend. And then, of course, we got Dave Cowens. I mean, I don't think you could have this list without Dave. I mean, Billy Cunningham. He did a lot for the game back then. I mean, Stephen Wardell, Stephen Curry. Could you ask for a better player? Anthony Davis, that's one guy there's been a lot of discussion about why is he on the list without, we'll get into it later, but players that got snubbed. But I don't know if Anthony Davis belongs on this list. Maybe eventually, but I don't know as of right now. Dave Boucher, he was another guy that I was a little bit questioned about. Older style play. But I feel like there's some better players. Clyde Drexler, you betcha he's going to be on this list. Tim Duncan, the big fundamental, 5-time NBA champ. MVPs, I mean, that man is a walking bucket, and he didn't even say a word while he played. So I think Tim Duncan's resume speaks for itself. Kevin Durant, 2-time NBA champ, 2-time MVP of the league. So, I mean, Kevin Durant, lock. Julius, Dr. J. Irving, he's going to be on this list. Patrick Ewing, I think he ended up winning one with New York. First overall pick, we'll get Patty Ewing on there. Walt Frazier played for the Knicks as well and won a championship with Phil Jackson, the Zen Master. KG, Kevin Garnett, one of the reasons why we're number 21. Anything is possible. MVP. He's won NBA Finals with the Celtics. George Iceman Gervin, of course, he'll be on this list with the San Antonio Spurs. Hal Greer, another one of these older guys. I'm sorry I didn't do my research on these older players, but it seems like it was back when everybody just dribbled with their right hand and shot kind of like underhanded. And so, I mean, I don't know how Hal Greer's stats are or anything like that, but we'll give him the nod. I mean, James Harden, MVP, can absolutely he kind of changed the game of basketball. Actually, just to make a rule so you wouldn't get to the free throw line so much. John Havlicek, rest in peace, big time Celtics legend. Right there. Elvin Hayes, another one of those old time hoopers, but he absolutely got buckets. Allen Iverson, the answer, never won a finals, but I mean AI got buckets, man. He's one of those guys that kind of changed the way the league was played. Yeah, I mean, keep him on the list. LeBron James, I don't even need to say anything about LeBron. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but man, he's top three. Magic Johnson, Swervin Irvin. Another one of those guys we don't need to say much about him. Sam Jones. I've heard somewhat about his game. I can't really tell you what team he played for or anything, but I think Sam Jones, I mean, not one of those older guys where I haven't done my research, but I think you can keep him on the list, I suppose. I think you guys have heard of this guy maybe before. Michael Jordan, maybe. I don't know. It kind of rings a bell. Just kidding. That's the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. Of course, he's going to be on this list. Jason Kidd, one of the best point guards of all time. I mean, the dude, I think he won Rookie of the Year as well. Kawhi Leonard, two-time NBA champ, two-time NBA Finals MVP. I mean, Kawhi Leonard might be a robot, might be human. Who knows? Yeah, keep him on the list. Damian Lillard, one of those guys. He won Rookie of the Year, and he's been to a bunch of All-Star games and been on a couple All-NBA teams. That's about it, though, for Damian Lillard. So I feel like he's one of those guys that kind of snuck his way onto the list. But, I mean, Dame Iguodala is an absolute bucket. Jerry Lucas, who? Karl Malone. I mean, sorry, Karl. You tried winning a ring with the Lakers back when you tried getting carried by Kobe. That didn't happen. World famous for getting beat by Michael Jordan all the time in the finals. Moses Malone. I mean, rest in peace to Chocolate Thunder. He's an absolute beast for the Sixers. Pete Maravich, Pistol Pete. Rest in peace as well. I mean, Pete was an all-time scorer and could absolutely pass the heck out of the ball. He deserves to be on this list. Bob McAdoo, big-time player for the Lakers back in the day. Kevin McHale, another one of those guys back in the day, but he was a big-time contributor for the Celtics, and he's actually from northern Minnesota. I believe Hibbing he's from. And then we got Reggie Miller, 8 points, 9 seconds, of course. Earl the Pearl Monroe, Steve Nash, back-to-back MVPs. Dirk Nowitzki, probably one of the greatest finals wins of all time. In playoff runs, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The Dream Shake. Top 10 player of all time, in my opinion. Shaquille O'Neal. Yep. Robert Parrish. Big time player for the Celtics, Lakers. I think he even snuck onto the Bulls eventually. CP3, Chris Paul, the point god. I mean, he doesn't have the winning there. I mean, he just made it to his first finals last season, but I think you can give Chris Paul the nod. I think he's close to being a top 5 point guard of all time. Gary Payton, the glove. I don't know. I think I kind of like how they gave the glove some love. Let me rhyme real quick. Yeah, I think I'll justify Gary Payton being on the list. Bob Pettit, absolutely one of those old style hoopers, but I mean he got the job done when he played. Paul Pierce, the truth. I love this. He says too many dumb things for him to be respected now lately, but yeah, Paul Pierce definitely deserves to be on this list. Scottie Pippen. I mean, he won 6 championships with Michael Jordan. You don't need to say much after that. I mean, Scottie Pippen's an absolute lock to his list. Willis Reed also played on that Knicks team that won a championship with, I know his name, Coach Michael Jordan and Kobe. But we got Oscar Robertson, averaged a triple-double, had the triple-double record until Russell Westbrook ended up breaking it. Yeah, absolutely, he's on here. David Robinson, dude's an absolute stud. Dennis Rodman, the worm. I mean, Dennis put up some of the craziest stat lines ever without even scoring the ball. I think Dennis Rodman definitely deserves to be on this list, and he won several championships as well. Bill Russell, he's won the most championships of all time with 11. I think they're all with the Celtics. I think he coached and played in some of them. Dolph Schayes? I don't know. Probably one of the grandfathers of basketball. Great grandfathers, I could say. Probably the same thing with this Bill Sharman fellow. I mean, they probably played where their shorts were shorter than people's underwear now. But now we got John Stockton, the greatest point guard. No, let me eat my words quick. Not the greatest point guard of all time, but he's got some of the greatest stats of all time for being a point guard. And I don't think they'll ever get beat. And that's an assist record and the steal. And then we got Isaiah Thomas with the Detroit Bad Boys. They won back-to-back championships. Of course, I love Isaiah Thomas and everything he's about. Nate Thurmond, Warriors legend, rest in peace. He won a few there with Wilt Chamberlain. And then we got Wes Unseld, Washington Bullets legend, Dwayne Wade. I mean, the Flash, of course. Dwayne Wade's on this list. Bill Walton, couple NBA championships with the Lakers and the Celtics. Russell Westbrook's got the all-time record for most triple-doubles. Of course, Russ will be on this list, even though he's a little bit of a bum, but that's just my opinion. Lenny Wilkens. Another one of those older gentlemen I don't really know of, but we'll give you the nod, Lenny. Dominique Wilkins, absolutely the human highlight reel. I mean, that man would punish the Rams back in the day. And then, of course, James Worthy, huge role in the Celtics and the Lakers back in that day. I mean, he was with Magic Johnson and just all those beasts back then. And I think, yeah, James Worthy for sure deserves to be on there. And then now let's look at some of the guys who got snubbed. This is coming from sportingnews.com. I'm just going to read the ones that I agree with. I think the one where you can interchange them, and I think he should be over, is Anthony Davis, and this is Dwight Howard. I mean, Dwight Howard's an 8-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, NBA champion. I feel like he would, like they just said on this one, they feel like Dwight Howard's an automatic selection, and I agree. I think he should be on there over Anthony Davis or Damian Lillard. Pau Gasol, I agree with this one. They say he's a vital piece in 2 championship runs with Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. Yeah, he was a big role. He was also a 6-time All-Star and 4-time All-NBA. I think Pau Gasol with his leadership skills and whatnot, he could have made the list. They have Vince Carter on here. I don't think Vince Carter deserved to be on this list. Sorry, man. It's just, you only played in 1 conference finals. I just can't give it to you. Mutombo, I don't know. I don't think he's. I mean, I guess 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, second or the most all-time tied with Ben Wallace, but I mean that's all he's got going for him. I mean, All-Stars and All-NBA teams, but nah, I just can't give it to you, Mutombo. Maybe over some of these older dudes that I've never even heard of, and that our grandparents haven't even heard of. Tony Parker, I think he's an absolute nod. He should be in this. 4-time All-NBA, 4-time champion, a Finals MVP. I mean, I think like it says in this article, it says he's a major piece in that San Antonio Spurs dynasty, and I completely agree. I think Tony Parker should be on this list over Damian Lillard. This man is an absolute walking bucket, and sadly injuries cut his career short, and that's Tracy McGrady. I mean, he ended up with 7 All-NBA selections, 7 All-Stars, and 1 Most Improved Player of the Year, along with 2 scoring titles. So, I mean, that's another one of these guys. We could work him in over these older gentlemen. Again, respect their game. I don't know what they did back then, and then I think he could also be worked in there over Damian Lillard. Yao Ming, nah, I don't really agree. And then one that really stuck out to me that was interesting is Alex English. He was actually on the All-NBA 50th anniversary team when it came out. And he didn't make this list. So that's kind of interesting that he could make the top 50 but not the top 75. I don't know, I guess some players passed him up and that completely makes sense. And then another guy is Klay Thompson. 3-time NBA champ. I don't know how many times All-Star, All-NBA team, All-Defensive Player team. I mean, Klay Thompson's an absolute walking bucket, and I think he deserves to be on this list over Damian Lillard or even Anthony Davis. Thank you. This is I Call Game 21. That was my rundown. Oh, timeout. I forgot about my top 10 of all time. I'm going to have to go with Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. This is no particular order, by the way. Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kevin Durant, and give me Magic Johnson too. That is my top 10 of all time in the NBA. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said earlier, before I almost forgot my top 10 of all time pick. This is the I Called Game 21 podcast. This is episode 6 and our final episode. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to any of these episodes if you did. And I really appreciate it. You guys have a good night.